Okay, good vach. We're up to the Mishnah on Nun Dal Nudalin of the base. And these are Mishnayos that you might be familiar with because we should say them every day. Zivchei Shalmei Tzibor ve'ashamas. So the Zivchei Shalmei Tzibor are the Shnei Kvasim that accompanied were accompanied by the Shtelechem on Shavuos. Now these are unique, fellas. They're Shlamim, but they're Kachei Kedoshim. These are the only Shlamim that are Kachei Kedoshim. So Zivchei Shalmei Tzibor ve'ashamas, and the Shamas are also Kachei Kedoshim. Elohein Hashamis, Asham Gezelos. I'll go through each one. If you go ahead and steal from somebody, or even if it comes to your reshus and you swear that you don't have it, if you found it or he left it you as a pikadon and you swear to the fact, and afterwards you go ahead and admit to it, you have to bring an asham and pay a keren and a chaimish. You have to bring an asham and pay a keren and a chaimish. Asham ilos, if you moral behegdish, you have enough from hegdish, you have to bring an asham, pay keren and chaimish. Asham shifa charufa. If an Eved Ivri engages himself to a Chatzi Eved, Chatzi Baskoirin, and you're Mizana with her, then you have to bring a carbon Shifa Charufa. Asham Nazir, if a Nazir becomes Tameh, before he starts his Naziris, he has to bring an Asham. And Asham Mitzayra is the Asham that we're familiar with, that he brings where he puts his behindness and his foot, his hand, his foot, and his ear, and he gets the shemen and the oil and the blood on it. Asham Talui is an Asham Talui if you eat. If you're over an Aveira, if you're over an Aveira that carries with a chiyuv of karis, suffix, so you have shuman and chayil in front of you, you're not sure what you ate. So you bring an asham tali to protect you. And if a later date you find out that in fact you ate the chaylev, you bring a chatas. So it protects you until you can barvarn. That's a good word, Kenny. Barvarn, that was exactly what is geshen, what happened. Shchitasim b'tzafayin. With a kibul dama klisha b'tzafayin. Again, this is a lach of kachik kadashim. All Kachei Kedoshim on the north of the Mizbeach. We had a machloikas what north is, right? The three shittas. V'damen toyin shtei matana shein arba, similar to the oila. You're going to have shtayim shein arba. We saw that there were 2 days. One day is the kli. You take a kli, you put it on the northeast and the southwest. V'nechalim lefnim kloyim. It has to be eaten. The kloyim are the curtains of the Mishkan. It has to be eaten in the Azara. The kachik has to be eaten in the Azara, fellas. It has to be eaten in the Azara. It can't be eaten outside the Azara. The Zichrei Kahuna can only be eaten by males. Brings to mind the Meshech Chachma that I always mention. If women would be able to eat it, and since it's only in the Azara, you'd have a taruvis. Meshech Chachma says that's the reason why the kachim kalim can be eaten by women, because it's eaten in all Yerushalayim, so you don't have to worry about taruvis. Mashenkin over here, it should only be eaten in that small area. Therefore, to keep the women out. L'chol Michael, as opposed to carbon Pesach, which can only be in sli, this can be in even mavushal. It can be cooked in a liquid. Liyoim v'layla ad chatzos. The day of and the night until chatzos. We said really it can be eaten the whole night, but to keep the harcha kadam in Aveira, the first Mishnah in Shas in Brachas, right? We go ahead and limit it to chatzos. So that's the Mishnah in general. Now it says the Gemara minolon de boyit sofin. How do you know that the zivchei? How do you know the shlamim? How do you know the shlamim require north? How do you know they require north? The Tani Rabba Bar Chana Kamei the Rabba Vasisim Sir Izim Echad L'Chatas. Now here's the whole pasuk, fellas. Vasisim Sir Izim Echad L'Chatas Ushnei Kvasim B'nei Shana L'Zevach Shlamim. So this is speaking about the Gabbanis of Shavuos. It says you bring a chatas, and as always, the Gemara leaves out the point that you need. What's the point you need? The shnei kvasim, guys. You need the end of the pasuk, the 2 kvasim, right? That's what you need. So now we make a hekish between what? Between the chatas and the shnei kvasim and the chatas. Good. Ma chatas b'tzafin, just like the chatas is in the north. Af shalmei tziba b'tzafin, so too the shalmei tziba is in the north. Okay, fellas, how do you know a chatas is in the north? Because you make a hekesh to oila. So you got a problem. What's that problem? Number 1 in the box, right? In the chart, number 1 in the box, right? A hekesh from a hekesh, you can't learn by kachim. Yeah, Rabbi obviously smiling. You can't learn a hekesh. You can't learn a hekesh from a hekesh, right? Fred the Gemara only Rabba. How do you know chatas needs north? Me'oila. You learn it from an oila. Dava loving mehekesh Chaza umalami behekish. Can it go teach behekish to what? To Kivsei Atzeres? So this can't be the source that Kivsei Atzeres is in the north. Ella, where do you know from? Miditani Rev Mori Bered Rev Kahana. Okay, from it says over here in Bamidbar, Perik Yud Pasuk Yud, Ubayom Simchaschem, Uvmoyadechem, Ubaroshe Chadshechem, Usakatem Chatzaitzos, Al Olesechem, Val Zivche Shalmechem, on your Oilos and on your Zivche Shalmechem. So now we have a connection, fellas, directly from Shlomim to Oila. See, it's not a two-step process, it's a one-step process. Al Olesechem, Val Zivche Shalmechem, Ma Oila Koche Kedoshim, just like an Oila is Koche Kedoshim, Av Zivche Shalmei Tziba Koche Kedoshim. So too, that's Koche Kedoshim. Now, Ma'oila b'tzafin, avzivche shamei b'tzifa b'tzafin. So now you have a source, a direct to oila, just like an oila is kachim kedoshim, so is the shnei kvasim of shvuas, and just like the oila requires the north, so too it requires the north. It's a one-way hekesh, and therefore you don't have a problem hekesh mina hekesh by leaving at chatas. Elakesha kamal l'mayas. So okay, you got your source. You got your source for the shlomim. But fourth, you did have a what? A hekesh between chatas and what? And shlomim. You had a chatas. You have the hekesh from Vasisim series mechad chatas, Ushnei kavasim shana. So you have the shlomim. So you have what? L'sivkei shlomim. So you have a hekesh. What do we do with that hekesh? You don't need it for north. What do you use it for? Ki chatas. Ma chatas ein necheles el zichrei kahuna. Just like a chatas is only being by zichrei kahuna. Guys, this is a shtickle chiddush, yeah? Because shlomim usually is only eaten what? It's eaten by everybody. You have a part that goes to the kahanim, the chaz of a sheikh, but the rest goes to baalim, and it's mutter for females to eat it. So this, you're telling me that what? You need a limud to teach me that it's a shlomim that is not eaten by females. What's that limud? It's like a chatos. Just like a chatas is only eaten by males, so too Zivchei Shamei Tzibur is only by males. Amle Abaya Ichachi, you're telling me you have this hekesh between Shlomim and chatas. Gabi Eil Nazir Dichsiv Vehikves Karbonoi LaHashem Keves Ben Shnasai Tamim Echad LaOila Vekivsa Achas Bashinasa Tamimo LaChatas Ve'el Echad Tamim LeShlomim. So we have a pasuk above. You have a pasuk, fellas, that goes ahead, and look at the pasuk, fellas. Gabi el nazir d'chsiv v'hikves karbonei l'Hashem keves ben shnasei tamim echad la'oila, one is an oila v'kivsa achas bashnasa tmima l'chatas, a female keves l'chatas ve'el achad tamim l'shlamim. These are the three karbonis that a nazir brings. Now we have in the pasuk we have a chatas, an oila, and a shlamim. So if you can make the hekesh between oila and shlamim and chatas to tell me it's only eaten by males, then the El Nazir also should be only eaten by males. Right? The Isle of the Nazir should only be eaten by males. Hachanami name the Hekesh HaKosav L'chatas, Machatas in Necheles El Zichrei Kahuna, Af El Nazir Nami in Nechel El Zichrei Kahuna. Again, if you can make that Hekesh, make it by Nazir as well, and say that the El Nazir, which is a Shlamim, is only eaten by males. It says, Mahachi Hashto. What's the Tushtel? Hasam Kivin Nichsiv, V'lokach HaKoines as Raya B'Sheila, Mina Ayel. Besides the chaz of a sheikh, fellas, the shlamim, the kohen gets the zroya b'shela. He gets the zroya, the right foot b'shela. He gets the foot angle. He gets the zroya b'shela, special part. Michlal the kula b'ayil machlei. Fellas, when you had to give that special part, we give this special part to the kohen. It must be that what? That, you see Hebrew letters? Okay. Okay. So he's getting so of the three kabbanis, again, this is the parsha of he brings the chatas of the nazir, v'esa lasai, and the oila, v'esa ayel yasa zevach shlamim, the ayel is a shlamim, la'Hashem, and he also in addition he brings sal matzos, and he brings a mincha, and he takes a haircut, and he takes the hair and he puts it underneath the shlomim. The lakach kohen has the zroya b'shela. The kohen pasuk yitesvel is the kohen takes the zroya b'shela min ayil, the chalas matzah achas min asal urkik matzah achas. This is what he gets. Memela, when you're telling me that he gets this, it must be he doesn't get the rest. When you're telling me he gets this, it must be he does not. It must be he does not receive the rest of it. So therefore, obviously, if it goes to the owner, so therefore it goes to the owner's children as well. That's what we're saying. Keeping the civil loka chenes is roy b'shelim in ayel mechlal the kula ba'olim achlile. Zroy b'shelim mia loylis. Okay, Freding Marakasha. Zroy b'shelim mia loylis achel el lezichei kahuna. So let's say the zroy b'shelim can only be by male kahanim and not females. Once you're making the hekesh techatas, fellas, right, by the shlamim, so just like we made the hekesh by the zivchei shalmeit sibur, that is only eaten by males, because it's compared to chatas. So if you're comparing to chatas, so the zroya b'shela should be eaten only by male kahanim. The Gemara says kasha. You're right, that's a kasha. V'yibo yisema, it's not a kasha. Kodshe ikri, kodesh kodshim le ikri. Okay, what does that mean? Let's take a look. Guys, the look. Pasuk yates. Look how can Israel b'shela. Now pasuk chaf, guys. The heinif oisam akayin. He waves tenufa. He's waving it. Lifnei Hashem. Kodesh hu. Guys, it's not called kodshe kedoshim. It's called kodesh. Kodshe kedoshim is taka only eaten by males. This is called kodesh, and in male it's eaten what by females as well. Now, what's the kasha? The kasha is so what now? For the Gemara, what halacha do you go ahead and make the hekesh between chatas and shlamim? Now, if you look at over here, fellas, look at pasuk ches. The gila chanozeh pesach oil mayed. That's roish nizroi. He takes a haircut. V'lokach es sa'ar roish nizroi. He takes his hair. V'nasan ala eish, and he puts it on the fire. Asher tachas zevach hashlamim. He puts it under the fire that's underneath shlamim. Guys, there's other kabbanis. There's what? There's a oila. There's an oila, and there's a chatas. There's an oila, and there's a chatas. You know what the hekesh teaches me, fellas? That if let's say you bought your oila, and then you took the haircut, you'd be yaitza. You know, you might think that what if he blows it by doing the haircut early, right? The hekesh teaches me that lav dafka shlamim, if you put it by the chatas in the oila as well, you would be able to go ahead and. If he takes the haircut on one of the three, the oil of the chatas, and as he's supposed to the shlamim, he's his nesivis. Okay, that's the zilchei shamit tzibur. So we learn from oil directly that it's in the north, and we have a hekesh techatas to teach me. Ultimately, the hekesh techatas teach me that it's eaten only by the zilchei shamit tzibur is eaten only by males. The Gemara now digresses and says we have the same hekesh by Al Nazir, what he used that for, and that's to teach me that what if you take a haircut on any of the three, you would be yaitza. If you take a haircut on any of the three, you would be yaitza. Says the Mishnah. Hatoida, carbon toida is a shlamim that you bring. It's accompanied, we know already, by 4 different types of 3 of them, man chametz, chales, rekikin, chales, and also chales of chametz. You give 10 to you give to the kohen from each one of them, and then you take the rest for yourself. And it's eaten for a day and a night. The ayal nazir, kachim kalim, shchitasim b'chol makom be'azara, as opposed, guys, this is the first time we're having something that's slaughtered throughout the azara. This is the first time we're having something that's slaughtered throughout the azara. Until now, kachim kadamshins has been in the north. The damin toin shtei matana shein arba. Again, the shlomim have the same halacha as what? As the oila and the asham. They can be eaten not only in the Azara, they can be eaten in the whole city of Yerushalayim, l'chol adam, to any individual, even a female, l'chol meichel, any which way, lav dafka broiled, right? L'yom v'layla, day and a night, ad chatzos, hamura mehem, that parts that are separated from them that go to the kayin, kiyotze behem. They have a lacha like them, right? So mura mehem. If you look at Rashi, min atoida, you get chazav v'shoik goes to the kayin kishar shlomim, the ishkish shlamim, because we make a hekesh between the toida and shlamim. Kidamaran zevach hashlamim im ala toida. V'abor chalois midalid minim, and you have 4 chalas from the 4 types. Sheba kidichsiv echa mikol hakarbin l'kayin hazorik umurim me'el nazir. What's the murim me'el nazir? Is the zoy b'sheila and the chazav b'shoik. All these go, and the chalas matzah, one goes to the and rikik, he gets 2 of those. All these amurim kiyotze behem, elashamurim nechol l'kahanim l'neshayim u'livneihem l'avdeihem. The murim mehem, the same halachas, the same time span. They can be eaten any which way, but if they're eaten only by the kahanim and not and their families and not by Yisrael. Okay. Tarabanan. Eschazi atnufa v'shoy katruma toichloi b'makom tar. Okay, let's look at the first part of this. We did the second part. There's the first part. This is the Miluyim, guys. This is the Miluyim. This is from Vayikra Yud. Vayidab Moshe Aaron v'Elazar v'Itama banav hanaysarim. This is after the death of Nadav Avihu. Kichu es hamincha hanayseres meishi Hashem v'chlu matzos etzel hamizbeach kikodesh kadoshim hi. Okay. V'achalta moiso b'makom kadosh. You should eat it in a makom kadosh. Ki chakcha v'chak banecha. It's a gesetz, an eviga gesetz. It's a law, right? He meishi Hashem. Ki kain suvesi. Ve'eschazi atnufa. This is the pasuk that we're bringing now. Ve'eschazi atnufa. What's woven. Ve'shokat truma toichel b'makom tahar. Atu v'necha v'nasecha itach. Now, guys, when it says over here, it should be eaten b'makom tahar. What about the pasuk before? That wasn't eaten b'makom tahar. You hear the inference. You're telling me the shlamim, this is eaten b'makom tahar, and wasn't the mincha eaten b'makom tahar? Right? Wasn't the mincha eaten b'makom tahar? So the Gemara has to delve into that. What's the pshat over here b'makom tahar? Okay, to understand this, I give you a bit of a hakdama. We know there were 3 machnas. There's machna Shechina, there's machna Levia, and machna Yisrael. Let's in the Mishkan, it was the machna Shechina was the Mishkan, machna Levia was the camp, and outside of that was machna Yisrael. By the Golem, there was a certain place, and that's the Yisrael. In Beis HaMikdash, the Azor itself was machna Shechina, Har HaBayis was machna Levia, and Yerushalayim was what? Machna Yisrael. Yeah. The only one who sent out of 3 machnos is the Mitzayra. The only one who goes out all 3 machnos is the Mitzayra. Any other Tameh who comes from the body, anyone who's Tameh that comes from the body is Chutz L'Machna Levia, Chutz L'Machna Shechina, and Machna Levia. In other words, they would be allowed in Machna Yisrael, not in Machna Levia. So a Zov is not allowed on the Har HaBayis. Guys, a Balkari is not allowed on the Har HaBayis because the Tumah came from the body. Tumas Mace is allowed on the Har HaBayis, believe it or not. Tumas Mace, which we always think was the most severe Tumah, since it's external Tumah, be aware, it's external Tumah. You're Makabel from a mace, because you're allowed in Machna Levia. Moshe Rabbeinu, guys, had Atzmus Yosef. Moshe was a Levi. So you have a raya that a Tamei mace can go ahead and be Machna Levia. Okay? Now, when it says that you eat this b'makom tahar, what is the meaning? So with this in mind, let's begin. With that hakdama. Tarabana. Eschazi atnu v'shayka truma, tochlu b'makom tahar. Amar Rav Nechemia, b'chi rishonim b'tumas achlum. The first part of the minchas that we mentioned earlier, is that going to eat b'makom tumah? Of course not. Elator mechal shu tamei. This area means it's tar for some and tamei for others. Tar mitumas mitzayra, meaning there are no mitzoroyim there, guys. You know what? Guys, listen to the Ram Taichkit. Tahor mitumas mitzayra. You know why? Because they're not there. They're outside all the machnis. So there's no mitzayra there. V'tamei mitumazov, abba tumazov is there. So what is that? That's machna levia. Excuse me, Ve'ezeh is Machna Yisrael. It's Machna Yisrael. I'm sorry. It's Machna Yisrael. The Mitzayr is outside all 3, and the Zov is not allowed in Machne Levia, but he's allowed in Machne Yisrael. So therefore, where can you eat the shlamim in Machne Yisrael? Guys, Machne Yisrael is Yerushalayim. So we have a limud l'chayra. It's very interesting. Look what your limud is, guys. Only the Gemara can do this. Your limud is from these words. Guys, look, Yudalid. What does Makam Tahar mean? Tahar from Mitzayra, but Tameh from Zav. And what's that? That's Machne Yisrael. So you can eat this, the parts of what? Of shlamim in Machne Yisrael. So that's how you know that a shlamim can be eaten, the titles of shlamim can be eaten in Machne Yisrael. Fred the Gemara Kasha, Ve'ema tor mitumas zav, v'tamei mitumas meis, ve'eze ze Machne Levia. Good. As we said, a zav has to be taken out of Machne Levia, but a tamei meis would be allowed there. So maybe Machne Levia, which is the harabayas. Maybe you could eat the shlomim in the harabayas. So Amar Abaye, Amar Kra, v'achaltem oisa b'makom kodesh. Okay, now you changed gears here over here, right? Look what you have over here, guys. That's why I put this. Pasuk Gimel. V'achaltem oisa b'makom kodesh. What does that mean? Oisa b'makom kodesh. Dafka the mincha b'makom kodesh, v'lo yacheres b'makom kodesh. So therefore, afke l'machne levia, right? Then you take it out of machne levia. The cost of b'makom Torah, afke l'machne Yisrael. So guys, here's what happened. V'chaltem oisa b'makom kodesh. So therefore, you can eat it where you could eat it in b'makom kodesh in the azara. Then it says oisa dafke. This is b'makom kodesh, but shlamim not. So where do you go, guys? You're going from Machne Shechina into Machne Levia. Then it says Makom Tar. You're going from Machne Levia to Machne Yisrael. That's Pasuk Yud Gimel Yudal in front of you. You got it right in front of you. There it is, right in front of you. Okay, one more time. Ve'ema Tar mitumas zav v'tar mitumas meis. Ve'ezeh zeh Machne Levia, meaning, why do you choose Machne Yisrael? Maybe it means Machne Levia. And that the Gemara says, Amar Abaye, Amar Kra, v'achaltem oisa b'makom kodesh. The mincha should be eaten in the Machne Shechina. Oisa b'makom kodesh, dafka the mincha is b'makom kodesh, v'lo yacheres b'makom kodesh. So therefore, where are you now? You went out one Machne, you're Machne Levia. Hadikosa b'makom tahar, afkel Machne Yisrael, and now you went out to Machne Yisrael. So that's how you know you're in Yerushalayim. Rabbi Amar, Oisa b'makom kodesh, v'lo yacheres b'makom kodesh, right? Only the mincha kodesh kedashim is in the azara, not anything else. Afke legamre. So now you know where you are. You're out chutz 3 machnes. You're outside completely. 2. You went from Machne Shechina, you went Levia and Yisrael. You jumped 2 and you're out. Hadikosa rachmana toichlu b'makom tahar. Then when it says to eat it b'makom tahar, ayle lemincha Yisrael. So now you back in 1. So according to Baya, it was 2 steps, right? 1 Levia, 2 Tahar. According to Rabbi, it's you're out completely, and that Tahar is bringing you in. That's the way Rabbi is learning. Right? Why do you go ahead and jump back 1? Once you're out, why do you jump 1, jump 2? Why do you say you're going from out to Yisrael, go from out to Levia? Levia. 1, you jump 1, but you don't jump 2. When you went out, you jumped 2. You went out from Machne Shechina, you went to Chutz. So just go from Machne Shechina to Machne Levia. Why'd you go all the way out? It says, how could you have thought that you go out 2 Machnes, guys? 2 machnes means you're out of Yerushalayim. You can't eat the shlam there. You can't eat it there. So what was Rabbi thinking? You have to say, it's like Abaya. This, guys, why it's like Abaya? This is b'makom kodesh, but shlamim not. So you go out 1, b'makom Torah, you go 2. And that's how you end up in Machne Yisrael. Shlamim kachim kalim. Shlomim is kachim kalim. Shchitasam b'chol malkaim be'azara can be shechted anywhere be'azara. V'domin toyin shnei matanos shehin arba, and you need shtaim shehin arba. Again, the same thing as oila, the same thing as an asham, same thing as a toida. This is the only one that's eaten for 2 days and a night. You have 2 days and a night to eat it. Hamur mehem kiyotze behem. That's the same halacha. That's the chaz of the shoik that goes to the koyin. El shamurim nechal kahanim l'shem l'neim l'avdeim. Okay, it's eaten by the kahanim. Tan Rabbana. Okay, we have now 3 times it says in Vayikra Gimel, it says the shochat pesach oil moed. So this is speaking, fellas, about a shlomim, and it's speaking about bakar, keves, and ace. So 3 animals, but the same carbon. Bakar would be a bull or a cow. Kevesh is self-explanatory, can be male or female. Shlomim's either way, and an ace also is a goat either way. Now, what does it say? It says by the bakar, it says v'samach yodei al rosh karbanoi u'shchota pesach oil moyed. Shechted where? The pesach oil moyed. Then it says by the keves, it says v'shachar esay lefnei oil moyed. It doesn't say pesach oil moyed. It says lefnei oil moyed. And then by the ace, it says v'samach yodei al rosh v'shachar lefnei oil moyed. So guys, so you have 3. The first one by my thumb, it says pesach. The other one says lefnei oil moyed. That's what it says. So you have 3. V'shachar pesach oil moed, that's bakar. V'shachar esel lefnei oil moed is keves. V'shachar esel lefnei oil moed is ace. Lahakshir es kol haruchos b'koshem kalam. You lav dafka north, fellas, but any which way, any area, you're able to shech the koshem kalam. And kavachayim with safain, you can shech it with safain. What's the kavachayim there? Umay kosher kedoshim shlei hochshu b'chol haruchos. You can't go ahead and shech it any which way. Hochshu b't safain. Koshem kalam shehochshu b'chol ruchais ein adin shehochshu b'tzafain. Good. Now, Rabbi Eliezer is going to say the same din, but he's going to learn it a different way. In other words, he's going to learn that you could shech also in the north, but he's going to need a pasuk, fellas. The difference between the Tanakama and Rabbi Eliezer, like the Tanakama, I don't need a pasuk for shlomim in the north. It's a kal v'chomer. Koshem kalam, you can't shech any which way, but the north is good. Kosher Kedoshim, Kosher Kedoshim, which you can't shecht any which way, is north. You could shecht in the north. Kosher Kalim, which you could shecht any which way, ain't no din you shecht in the north. So I don't need a pasuk to tell me tzofin works by what? By shlomim. Rabbi Eliezer is going to say differently. He's going to say differently, and he's going to require a pasuk. So they arrive at the same din, but a different way. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, lo nemer akosav elo lahachshit tzofin. The pasuk's telling you that tzofin's good. You know why? Because I would say, fellas, that Tzofin's not good. I need a pasuk to tell me Tzofin's good, because if not, I would say Tzofin is not good. Why would I say that? Well, I didn't. That it's not good. Uma kochim kalam shehuchshu b'chol haruchos lo huchshu mikayman eitzel kosher kedoshim. Kochim kalam, which is all places, is good, but kochim kedoshim is not good in its places. Kodesh Kedoshim Shlei Huchshu Elebet Safain, Kodesh Kedoshim, which is only in the north, Ein Edin Shlei Huchshu B'Mkoyim Eitzel Koshem Kalim. Madach, the place of Kodesh Kalim, is unique, but Kodesh Kedoshim is not there. The place of Kodesh Kedoshim, which is unique, Ein Edin, that Koshem Kalim shouldn't be there. Memela, if you dash in this Kalvachayim, you don't have Safain for Shlomim. Memela, I need a pasuk to tell me Safain's good. So at the end of the day, Safin's good, but like the Tanakama from a Kal V'Chayner, like Rabbi Eliezer from a pasuk. Like Rabbi Eliezer from a pasuk. Tamad Loimer, okay. It says oil moyed. Now, but my kamifli, what's the machlokes? In other words, what? Obviously, the Rabbi Eliezer doesn't dash the Kal V'Chaymer of the Chachamim, and the Chachamim don't dash in Rabbi Eliezer's Kal V'Chaymer. So the my kamifluki, the Tanakama and Rabbi Eliezer. Rashi says, "My kamar be Tanakama b'chad mahanach kroi." What does the Tanakama do with the pasuk of one of the 3 psukim? Fellas, look at me. One of these 3 psukim, Rabbi Eliezer is using to teach me tzafin. What does the Tanakama do with that? Because he has 3 extra psukim. Tanakama doesn't need a pasuk, right? So what do you do with these psukim? Okay, Tanakama sava tilsa kroi ksivi chad legufei. The Neboy Pesach Oil Moyed. Guys, you hear this? Listen to this. you need the oil mayed open. If the oil mayed is closed, if this is close to business, you see a picture? See a picture? Guys, if this is closed, you can't shech the shlamim. If this is closed, you cannot shech the shlamim. Nothing to do about it. You can't shecht it. If that is closed, there's no shechting the shlamim. If that's closed, you can't shecht. Okay, so now, the chad lahachshit stadim, right? One, to say that stadim are permitted, What are the stadim? That stadim are places that you can see the oil moed from. So stadim would be over here and over here. That stadim would be over here and over here. The chad lifsol tzideit stadim. Guys, Rashi learns tzideit stadim is over here. Why can't I make this? Guys, Rashi learns tzideit stadim is over here. This lishka, look, if you check, look on the board. You see what I'm doing over here with this pointer? This over here with the pointer would be tzideit stadim, according to Rashi. Right. Believe it or not, if you shecht over here, it would be good because it opens into the Beis HaChlifos. So that's considered an opening to Oil Moed. We'll also see if you shecht back here, it's good because it goes into, you can see there's a little going in there. Okay, so this chart should be embedded in your mind. So now, if it's suffinly, it's durchkra, and suffin doesn't need a pasuk. So we have, like, want to know what the Tanakama does with the three pesukim. One to teach me the oil moed has to be open. One to teach me that the stadim are good, and one to say that the tzideit stadim are not good.
Late. What wasn't it? The door open always for the tamid in the morning? Wasn't it always open? I mean, for
let's say it wasn't open and you shechted it, Hesh. Again, halachically, let's say it was closed. Don't be practical. Again. Let's say for some reason they closed the doors. It's open in the morning. Let's say doors were closed. It's no good. In other words, one of the halachas is it has to be open. It doesn't mean it's always. Again, is it open or not? If it's not open, it's not a good carbon. Let's say for some reason they closed it. Hesh. They closed. Again, let's say they closed it. The card, it's no good. That's all. It's no good.
Okay. All right. Let's say okay.
For Rabbi Eliezer Savar, chad legufei, then the boy Pesach el Moed has to be open. For chad lahachshit sofin, right? That one that he said, that's the one that the Tanakama did not need because he had the Kal V'chomer. For chad lahachshit stadim, but see that stadim way it's the kra. And one to me that stadim, and to tell me see that stadim a pasuk, I don't need a pasuk. So the extra pasuk, like the Tanakama, is to pasuk tzideit stadim. The extra pasuk, like Rabbi Eliezer, is to machshat sofin for shlamim. Ma'ishna hacha d'chsiv pesach oil moed, or ma'ishna hasan d'chsiv lefnei oil moed. Right? We said we went down the line. One was pesach oil moed, the other one's lefnei. The first one was pesach, the other one's lefnei. Kamash Malon, Kid Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Then Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel, Shlomim sheshachtan, koidem sheyiftchu dalsois ha'hechel. If a shlomim was shechted before they opened up the hechel, if they shechted before they opened the hechel, psul in the pasel. Shneimar, v'shachtu pesach oil moed. Bismanshu besuach v'izmanshu nol. Heshi, that's a pasuk. It's exeris akasiv. Itmanami Amar Mar Ukva. Barchama, Reb Yaisi, Reb Chanina, Shlomim sheshachton koidem sheyiftchu dalsos ha'hechel, a shlomim that you bought before you opened up the doors of the hechel, psulin, shnemar, v'shachtu pesach oil moed, bizman she pesach ha'hechel psuach, v'loi bizman shu noel. B'marav Masni, in Eretz Yisrael they learned, Hachi, Rav Yaakov Bar Acha, Rav Ashi, Shlomim sheshachtu koidem sheyiftechu dalsos ha'hechel, psulim, uve mishkan, Koidim she ya'amidu Leviim es mishkan, before the Leviim put it up, if they shechted the shlomim was puzzle, la'achar sheyifiku Leviim es mishkan, and if they shechted it after they took down the mishkan, psulim. Okay, so this is a halacha that we're learning that you need Pesach el Moed. Now the Gemara delves into different variables of this halacha. Pshita mugaf kinayel dummy. Pshita, if the door is closed, it's what? It's considered kinoil. Noil means locked, fellas. Noil means locked. Pshita, if it's closed, it's kinoil. In other words, It's not the fact that it's unlocked or locked. It's the fact that you need to see the oil moyed and you don't see it. Uh, Viloin mai. What about they had a viloin? They had a curtain there, so it's open and there's a curtain. What's the din? So Amrab Zera, who atzmai einase ela ki pesach pesuach. Fellas, the purpose of the V-line was for tzniastic reasons, that they shouldn't see what they're doing, because it was open. So you see that what? It's considered open. That's why you put it up in the first place. So the V-line would not be considered what? Look at Rashi. V-line hu atzmai, V-line atzmai, ein choshev el kepesach besuach, the tzniusa ba'alma of it. It itself is considered open, because you put it over there to go ahead and people shouldn't look. So in Mela, if there's a V-line there, a curtain hanging there, and you chef the shlomim, it would be good. It would be good. Now the Gemara has an interesting shaila. Amrav Zera, okay. Goiv hamai, Rashi, ki going tal, you have a mound, or eitz, or a wood, mutul kineged a pesach, that it's lying, standing kineged a pesach, mafsik ben pesach l'shchita, and it's mafsik between the Pesach and the Shechita. So in other words, it's not the door that's closed, but something else that is closing the door. Something else is closing the door. What would it then be? Tashma, the tiny Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Shnei Pishposhin Hoyu bebeis Chalifos. There were two small gateways in the Beis Chalifos. So guys, look at the chart. Look at the Heshi's picture. We're getting good mileage, Hesh. Shnei Pishpishin, number 50. This is the Beis Chalifos. They would hide, they would keep their knives in over here. Chalif is a knife. So there were two, one over here and one over here. This is 15 amis, and this is 15 amis off here. And they would have over here, guys, good, you see it? Over here. Good. Let's continue on. Continue on. The Goyvon Shmoina, and the Havamina is, and there was a barrier that was 8 amis high. And this, you wanted to have that you could eat in the whole azara kachek kadashim or the shchitas kachim kalim, and to be able to go ahead what and shech kachim kalim. If you look at Rashi where it gets semi-wide, lachilas kachek kadashim kasal kadei the chashda the lachilin nami boy pnim, that to eat you need to be inside. Look, come on, Amina, sami mikanachila, take it out. You take, so we're going to take this out. Now here's the Havamina, guys. That this opening, there was a wall of 8 amis there. So why is the Gemara back in the Gemara? My love, the Ikka Kamayu Shmaina, it's speaking that there is a barrier of 8 opposite that door. And nonetheless, fellas, you see, you could shecht. So what do you see? That a barrier is not considered a problem. A barrier is not considered a problem. Says the Gemara, loy, the gavu ninu shmaina. It means that what? It was the door itself was eight high. Guys, in other words, there wasn't a barrier there. That was the size of the door. So you can't use this as to be paisha the shaila. It's speaking there's no barrier. Good. I want to share with you the Shita Mekubetzes Daf Ois Ches says. Shita Mekubetzes Ois Ches, fellas. Psuach. Hu Gavoya Mai Gavoya Mai Tema. Kimin Nemichsharinan Kol Azara. Since the whole Azara is muta, in Cain, Gam Mizrachish on Mizbeach Kasha. If you're on the eastern side of the Mizbeach, it's Kasha for Shchita. V'amai, v'lei mafsik goiva shel Mizbeach ben Shchita lepesach. Guys, look at this Kasha. Rabbi Avi, this is going to work for you. If you're in the Mizbeach, can you shecht over here? Yes, the whole Azara, yeah? Isn't this being mafsik between you and the ulam? If you're telling me goiva is a problem, if you're standing here on the eastern side of Mizbeach, it should be a big problem. It's got Gavaldic Akasha, guys. You hear? It's a problem. Again, this is the Mizbeach, that's it, okay? let's say the Mizbeach was situated, but if you're over here and you can't see, if you're telling me Goiv is going to be a problem, shechting over here should be a problem, right? Shechting on the eastern side of the Mizbeach should be a big problem. It should be a big problem. So answers the Shita, right? V'oma moiri, the vaday Goiv shel Mizbeach eina mafsik. The height of the Mizbeach is not hafsaka. Kivin dilit sleirich karbonis hu, since it's for the need of the karbonis. So it seems like the Rishonim, Rabbeinu Peretz, something that's necessary, of course, is not considered a problem. It's something that it's something that shouldn't be there as a problem. I saw the art scroll brought down a teretz from the Nitziv in the Rami Sada, since it's not in the opening itself. In other words, this is a very geschmack teretz. The Gemara Shaila was if you have something in the Pesach or Moed L'chayr itself. If you have a blockage that's off, but it's open, then it's not a problem. So Mamela, the other side of this Mizbeach will be a problem because it's open. The problem is if it's blocked in the thing itself, in the opening itself, that's a problem. But over here, you're on the other side. If it's open, that would not be a problem. The Gemara just asked, you want to say that it was 8 amas high, that whole thing was 8 amas high? I got a problem with that. Mesivei. Kol hasha'arim shahayu sham, all the gates that were in the Beis HaMikdash, Gavoyim Esrim Amma. For Reich Ben Esa Amma, they were 20 amas high and 10 amas wide. Right? So L'chayra, how can you tell me the Pishpish in these doors were 8, L'chayra they're 20? The Gemara answers, Pishpashon shiny. Pishpashon are what? Are different. Pishpashon are different. For the Gemara of Ikit Sedadim, right? The Gemara, the Gemara, Ikka Sedadim, on the side of the ulam themselves, and you can't see the pishpashim over there. So how could you go ahead and shecht if you can't see the Kodesh HaKadoshim? In other words, fellas, look at the picture. If you would be over here in this area 50, you wouldn't be able to shecht because there's no opening over here. The Havamin of the Gemara guy says, look, the opening was over here. The Havamin of the Gemara was the opening. Look at my pointer. I'm pointing to the back side. That's the Havamina. So if it points to the backside and you're over here, you can't see in. So how could you shech there? And the answer is, since you had one goes, well, let's see it inside. And for the Gemara, the Mailele Bekeren Zavius, right? That it went in Bekeren Zavius over here. See the way they made it? Right in the corner. So therefore it's considered like you can see into the oil moyed. So over here is Pesach oil moyed, and over here you could see into the oil moyed. So any place for shchita has to be Pesach or Moed. The Gemara now asks, fellas, you see area 63? Area 63, you could shecht. But 1 second, you can't see the oil Moed, fellas. And the answer, you will see the answer. Okay? But says the Gemara, Achuri Beis HaKaparis Mai, behind the Beis HaKaparis, what's the din? Tashma Amar Rami Rabbi Huda Amrav Lul cotton hayachuri besakapires. There was a small lul, a small lily, a coop. There was a small opening behind there. Gevoya shmeina amis. It was 8 amis high. Kedela hachsher sazor lachilas kachik kadashim u'leschitas kashim kalim. Behind the chsiv, the pasuk Devei Yomim says shnayim. What's the lashon of the pasuk? It says there were 2 people who were watching. L'mayriv arba l'mesila and shnayim lepabar. Fellas, there's discussing the people who were showing him the different openings. Over here, there were 2 people. They were watching this opening. That opening was called the parbar. If you look Rashi on the page, Rashi brings it. Rashi on the page brings a picture. You probably, I'm sure they have a better picture than I have. But if you look in the picture in the old, you see that it says Ma'ariv. It says Azar Yud Aleph Amachuri Azar. There's 11. And it says a ches there and it says pabar. You have people that would go ahead and watch. So since there was a little lull that you could look in, the mela was considered Pesach El Mayed, and you can shech kachim kalim over there. V'hainu to shnayim leparbar. My leparbar. What does parbar mean? What's the meaning of the world? So my leparbar. Amar Rabba Rav Shila leparbar hu lashon etrikin kimod Amar klape bar means to go ahead to bar whatever's outside to be over masha outside. Okay. And we'll see B'ez Hashem tomorrow. We'll see other halachas about the oil mayit.